Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Worth the Wait MMA podcast. I'm the host, Aries, and I am going to break down the whole card and give my top 5 confident picks and my favorite underdogs for UFC 322 going down on Saturday. MSG, we have a huge card, probably one of the best cards of the year. We have Della Maddalena defending his welterweight belt versus pound for pound, probably the best fighter on the UFC roster right now against Islam Makhachev. Islam is making his debut at 170, so this is going to be a very, very exciting fight. Probably one of my favorite title fights of the year. So I have to be straight up with you guys. This is my second time recording this. Me and Drew recorded this episode yesterday. I went to go edit, and there was no sound. Your boy forgot to turn on the mics, and I'm ashamed. And it was a rookie mistake, and something I have to live with. It was a great episode. But I'm going to break down this whole card by myself right now. We are a day later from that first recording, and yeah, it's sad. I was really upset. So I owe Drew just something. I feel bad, man. It was a great episode that we recorded, but he will be back for UFC Qatar, and I will make sure to do a double check to make sure the sound's on. Damn it. Anyways, we have a lot to talk to you guys about. I have a lot of fights to break down and just a lot of stuff to get through. So let's just start hopping into UFC 322, man. 14 fights, just a stacked card. There's going to be a lot of action going down Saturday in MSG, but let's start with the opening card for UFC 322, man. Bo Singer Susakayev versus Eric Makhachev. So, Susakayev, sorry. Second fight in the UFC. If you guys remember his UFC debut, he is coming off that, and there was like a 3-day turnaround from his Dana White Contender Series fight. So Dana White Contender Series fight on Tuesday, gets signed to the UFC. Dana decides to turn him around to fight 4 days later on that card with DDP and Chimaev, because this is Chimaev's like training partner. This is their boys. They're trying to build up this guy. So he decides, so he fights Eric Nolan, and Eric Nolan had him in big trouble in that first round. Susakayev almost got knocked out in the first round. I think he was overlooking Eric Nolan and just was trying to play cool and play it off like he wasn't hurt, but he got stunned, he got rocked. If there was more time on the clock, this guy could have been knocked out. He got saved by the bell, and now he's here with a full training camp in his second fight, and I think he's going to do damage to Eric Makhachev. So Susakayev has the striking and the ground game. If he can go to either one if he wants to, but I just don't think there's much resistance from Eric Makhachev in this fight. Makhachev has striking, but I'm not too confident in Eric Makhachev. I haven't been confident in Eric Makhachev. I just don't know if he is UFC material. But with Susakayev with the full camp, I believe that this guy's going to make light work of Eric Makhachev on Saturday, and I just believe in the preparedness and the full camp, and we're going to see, a light day. So I think the Susakayev is going to get a knockout in the first round or early second round, but definitely under 1.5 rounds, I believe. I just don't think Eric Makhachev is going to survive over 1.5 rounds. I'd be absolutely surprised if it does, because I think Susakayev he's a lot to deal with, especially under 1.5 rounds. Yeah. So give me Susakayev to win by knockout. I think it's done with the striking. Yeah. Next fight we have Angela Hill versus Fatima Klein. Now, I'm very, very high on Klein. I'm high on her skill set. She's 25 years old. I think she looks good at women's strawweight. She ran into a tough test. She decided to go up to flyweight, and she ran into Jasmine Vicious, who is a big flyweight as well. So she ran into a big girl in Jasmine. Now, I think she had success on the feet against Jasmine, but it when it came to the wrestling and the grappling, we saw that we saw the difference in the body weight and the frames of their bodies, and Jasmine was just too physical in the wrestling and the grappling for Fatima Klein to last 15 minutes with this physical Jasmine Vicious. So Fatima Klein kind of died out in that fight, moving up to flyweight on short notice as well. Got to remember that. But she goes back down to strawweight and she looks good against Dudikova and Martinez. Now she tried to take down Melissa Martinez, but wasn't successful with the takedowns. I think Melissa Martinez does a great job being very light on her feet, and it's really hard to kind of track down Melissa Martinez. But the striking was a bit competitive, a little bit with Melissa Martinez for Fatima Klein in her last fight. Klein kind of had to work a little bit for that, and especially in the striking. But she gets the third round TKO with a head kick, and it looked good. Like I think it was a close 29-28 maybe. But she gets the knockout and she gets the finish in the third round against Melissa Martinez. Fatima Klein does have this grit. I think she has just, coming from the same camp as Aaron Blanchfield. And I feel like the good things and the good traits of Aaron Blanchfield is rubbing off on Fatima Klein. So I feel like they feed off each other really well in the gym, I would assume. And training with Aaron Blanchfield, only good things are going to come to you in your career. So I think Fatima Klein is going to have to work for this victory. Angela Hill is a vet. She is just a staple in this strawweight division. She's a staple in women's MMA. She's 40 years old, and I think the age is really showing itself in just her reflexes and her movements. Angela Hill is really known for her output and really putting on a pace, but I believe that pace is kind of slowing down a little bit. Um, being a bit more hittable, not really um, able to have that strong 15-minute cardio. I feel like it's like a 12, 11 minutes, I feel like, but she does slow down second round. She puts out a lot of output, but with Fatima Klein, she's gonna have a lot for Angela Hill to deal with, striking or wrestling or grappling. So I just don't think Angela Hill is washed in any way of getting finished in this fight, but I do think that the younger, hungrier fighter and just a skill set to combat the skill set of Angela Hill here. Just give me the younger, fresher fighter here with Fatima Klein to win by decision. I may look at a third round finish, but I don't know. I don't know. Could be that actually could be a little bit greedy there, but give me Fatima Klein by decision, man. Next fight we have Pat Sabatini and Chepe Mariscal is one of my favorite fights on this card, man. What a banger. Now this is a rematch, and these guys fought years ago. Um, Now Pat Sabatini is really, really good with his wrestling and his grappling. This man just sticks to you, and he's really strong when he's in top guard. Great scrambler. But the striking is where it's really like kind of like meat and potatoes. He throws wide. I think he has decent body kicks, but um, chin is up there and it's exposed. Um, so I get the liking and the price tag for a Pat Sabatini because of the advantage that he has here with his grappling and wrestling. I get it because it is good. It's really good. But man, Chepe is going to fight for your dollar, and I love him. I love Chepe at a underdog price tag here. I think Chepe can do a little bit more on the feet and the striking up against the cage and the clinch. I think he can win moments with the striking and also defend and scramble and roll with a Pat Sabatini if it goes that route, which I do think it will. But I think Chepe can work his way up to his feet and kind of steal rounds and steal moments and with the striking. So I think this is going to be a close fight, but Chepe just doesn't stop, man. undefeated in the UFC, is a dog, is gonna fight for your dollar. The value here on the underdog, I love it. Give me Chepe Marasco to win by decision. Next fight, we have Carl Dawkins versus Gerald Mishart, GM3. I was talking a lot of stuff with GM3 in his last fight. I thought GM3 was going to wash his last opponent, who is let me see, Michael Olajaychuk. I thought um, GM3 was going to win by submission, but it made me look stupid. This man looked absolutely terrible in his last fight. He looked old. He looked slow. He just looked meh, and it just left a terrible taste in my mouth. That performance is just awful. I was mad. It could be the mix of me talking so much shit and like backing GM3 and the performance that GM3 actually had with Michael Olajaychuk. It sucks, man. Like, yeah, he looked terrible, and I don't know what he's doing here so fast, but at his age, with a quickish turnaround to getting knocked out, I just don't know, man. Kyle Dawkins is coming back. He's kind of making his second run in the UFC. He had a run in the UFC, got cut, did his thing on the regional scene, and now he's back in the UFC again. And his first fight back in the UFC as Kyle Dawkins 2.0 against Michelle Pereira, sorry. Getting that knockout under a minute was super surprising. Kyle Dawkins may be back, but I just don't know. I'm not going to put all my eggs in the basket just yet. I have to see a little bit more. Hopefully, this fight does go to the second round. I just want to see if Kyle Dawkins 2.0 is officially back. But the striking looked good. He looked crisp. He looked like the better striker in that Pereira fight, which is crazy to say because I thought Kyle Dawkins was absolutely washed. But he looked great, man. There's nothing really bad to say, and I wish that fight was a little bit longer, just kind of see the growth and the evolution of Kyle Dawkins. But hopefully we see it here on Saturday. GM3 is so tricky to get a gauge on. We just don't know what version of GM3 we're gonna get. And with GM3, I feel like GM3, I think he tries to weather storms of his opponents, and when he does weather that storm, and then his opponents are tired, that's when he kind of capitalizes on a more fatigued fighter, and he's using his grappling and you know kind of getting his game plan going. But he just takes too much damage, and there's too much of a risk taking GM3 in these fights nowadays because he is trying to weather a storm. And I don't know. I'm spending way too much time on this fight. Give me Kyle Dawkins to win by a finish. I'm gonna believe in the hype for now, but we'll see. We'll see if the hype continues for Kyle Dawkins 2.0. See if he's really here, if he's really back. But beating GM3, I don't know if we're going to get that he's back at 100%. I just don't know. This is an opponent that Kyle Dawkins should beat because Jared Mershart is kind of washed. So maybe this is going to be a light win for Kyle Dawkins, and we just have to see who the UFC kind of pair him up with next in his next fight to kind of get more of an answer if Kyle Dawkins is really back. So, but yeah, give me Kyle Dawkins to win by. I'll say TKO. I'll say TKO KO. So to move on from the early prelims to other prelims, we got Vyacheslav Borishev versus Mateus Camilo. Vyacheslav Borishev versus Mateus Camilo. This is where I miss Drew. Drew's always reading the names. He does a great job reading the names and the lines and I hate this. But so we got not Santa Claus. We got Borishev versus Camilo. I was just trying to say his nickname. Slava Claus, that's what it is. Goddamn. Anyways, this fight was put together on really short notice. They really just kind of threw this fight on the card. I don't know like how much of a notice that these people got or these fighters got to kind of prepare for this fight. but we're here and it's opening up the prelim. Um, so Borshev is at a good gym. I think Team Alpha Male is still decent, still putting up some decent talent in that gym, and Vyacheslav Borshev is in that gym. But things are not panning out the way I thought they would for Vyacheslav Borshev. Borshev is a no, I don't know if great is the word, but I think he's a good kickboxer, a solid kickboxer. He is a bit hittable for my liking. Um, the defensive striking is not good, and the way people have been beating Borshev is taking the fight to the ground and wrestling him and finding a submission and or using ground and pound. But I don't know if Camilo could get this fight to the ground. I don't know. I I I, I hope so. Camilo's only 24 years old. This is a step up in competition for Camilo. Um, but Camilo did, in his loss to Gabe Green, Camilo did have a rear naked choke kind of locked in. It looked deep. And Gabe Green kind of fought out of it, fought the hands, got out, and he submitted Camilo because Camilo kind of burned his arms out, and he was a bit tired after trying to attempt that submission. So I think the ceiling is really high for Camilo. He's still young, he's still 24 years old, still soaking up game. And I really do like where he's headed. Now is he here? Is he kind of there now enough to kind of beat Borshev? I think so. Again, Borishev just hasn't gotten over that hump of defending takedowns or just improving in some area. I don't know, man. Defensive striking is not good. He gets tagged up. He got knocked down by Chase Hooper. I think Mateus Camilo just has more ways to win this fight with the grappling and the striking. I'm just the ceiling of Camilo. I'm just high on. Borshev just hasn't been it for me, and I've backed Borshev in matchups before, and it really hasn't worked out for me and Borshev. But yeah, just give me Camilo. I think we see a Camilo 29-28 decision. Next fight, we have one of my favorite fights on this card. We have Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Haddon. I absolutely love this fight. And Malcolm Wellmaker is at the probably the top of this prospect list in the UFC right now. They're really eating up that story when he entered the Dana White Contender Series. A blue collar worker, working these long shifts, and he was training MMA, and he finally got into the Dana White Contender Series and made his dreams come true, and he got signed to the UFC. Even while fighting in the UFC, he was still working his blue collar job. I believe he just recently quit not too long ago, and now he's a full time fighter. So they're really eating up that story. They love it for Malcolm Wallmaker. I think it's a really cool story as well. And what we have seen from Malcolm Wellmaker in the UFC is just the big power that he has. Malcolm Wellmaker has that power, and we haven't seen much of anything else other than that power in the striking. We know that if we look at the regional tapes, he's gone 5 rounds, he's gone 3 rounds, I believe. So the cardio's there. The wrestling seems to be there. There is a ground game there for Malcolm Wellmaker. He's just not a one trick pony with the power. But with the Cody Haddon opponent, I'm really high on Cody Haddon. I like Malcolm Wellmaker. I think he's great, but I'm really high on Cody Haddon, and I hate that these two fighters are fighting so soon in their careers. I was hoping that they can kind of build up their resumes, kind of meet in a few years or 2 years, 3 years, but instead we get it right now. These two could possibly fight each other down the road, but Cody Haddon is he's a brawler, man. And one thing that kind of scares me in this fight with Malcolm Wellmaker having such a big power, Cody Haddon does like to mix up the strikes to the body, to the head. But I feel like he stays in that red zone, the close up zone. He drops his hands a little bit, kind of goes at the body, but I feel like he stays there a little bit too long. Now we're gonna see just how durable Cody Haddon's chin really is. Can he eat some of these shots from Malcolm Wellmaker? If he stays in this fight and is able to take these punches from Wellmaker, I think Malcolm Wellmaker is going to be in deep trouble as this fight goes on because of the pace and just how Cody Haddon fights. Stalks you, walks you down, doesn't let you breathe, throws volume. We're seeing it. Both of these guys throw a lot of volume, as we see the numbers right here. Strikes landed per minute. Cody Haddon is 9.2, and Malcolm Wellmaker is 7.2. So there's a lot of volume coming from each fighter, but the way Cody Haddon fights is just a forward pressure, really doesn't let you breathe. Is just in your face, stalks you, and just is constantly throwing combos. Now, I feel like Cody Haddon does go to that wrestling a little bit better, and he mixes in the grappling and the wrestling better than a Malcolm Wellmaker. Now, if Cody Haddon decides to mix in these takedowns and initiates the grappling, I think Malcolm Wellmaker is going to kind of be in some trouble here. Cody Haddon hasn't really fought in a year. He hasn't fought in a year. His last fight was against Argueta, Dan Argueta. Now, Argueta, I believe, shot a lot of takedowns and was only able to get like a few of them. I feel like four or something. Let me just check real quick. I just want to be precise with this. But so we saw Cody Haddon have his hands down by his waist in this fight, and that was for trying to defend these takedowns of Dan Argueta. Um, yeah, Dan Argueta attempted 24 takedowns and only got four of those. Like Cody Haddon was defending his ass off. That's why his hands were so low. Dan Argueta did land some shots in the striking on Cody Haddon, some jabs, yes, but he was really worried about the takedowns. And I don't think he has to worry about the takedown threat that much here because I don't think Malcolm Wellmaker is that nice with the wrestling enough to be a threat like that. I just think that Cody Haddon just has those tools, man. I think he just has that style to kind of make a Malcolm Wellmaker go to the deep water. I know the power can be different if Malcolm Wellmaker connects, but I'm willing to see about that. I'm gonna go with Cody Haddon here. I'm gonna take a shot here on the dog. Give me Cody Haddon to win by decision. And with this being 2025, like there's a lot of undefeated fighters who have lost their O this year. I don't know what it is about this year, but Tatiana Suarez, Umar Nurmagomedov, a lot of undefeated fighters have lost their zero this year, and I think it may collect another one with Malcolm Wellmaker losing. So next fight we have Aaron Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. This is a solid fight too. I really like this fight. You may have your own things to think about, and you may judge Tracy Cortez, whatever. I respect Tracy Cortez is her skill. I think she has really rounded out her wrestling with the boxing. I think she has decent and better hands. I think she's evolving with her hands. I think the boxing's coming around, but the wrestling is nice. I think the wrestling is underrated, and I think people just look at her as a IG model and social media girl, and probably don't take her skill set serious. But I think she's good, man. I think she's really good. But Tracy Cortez is an underdog here against a really talented girl fighter in Aaron Blanchfield. When talking about striking, I think we are seeing an improvement striker with Aaron Blanchfield. And we kind of saw it with the Rose Namajunas fight with Aaron Blanchfield. Um, Aaron Blanchfield striking from the Manon Farad fight to the Rose Namajunas fight, the striking looked a lot crisper, a lot cleaner. Um, and you saw that improvement. And I think she's just building on that, the progress that she made. And I think she already has the edge in the wrestling here. I just think she can get these takedowns on Tracy. I think she can just be a step ahead on um in the wrestling department. I think it's going to be a little bit tough early on. But I think with the striking and the takedowns, I think it can all just work together. And I think Aaron Blanchfield could run away with this fight 29-28 decision. I think Tracy Cortez could steal a moment in a round with with her boxing, defending takedowns, getting back to her feet, uh, maybe landing some meaningful shots. I think she can get around, but I think this is a clear 29-28 decision win here for Aaron Blanchfield. Yeah, give me Aaron Blanchfield by decision. Next fight, we have Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop. I get the favorite tag. I get that he's a favorite in this fight. He has the big power, the threat. He's been using his wrestling and jiu-jitsu a little bit more, and his grappling. He's been going to that side a little bit more in his fights. But man, he does leave his chin on the line, and he doesn't move his chin. And what the striker like Roman Kopylov is, I think Roman Kopylov could just send really quick 1-2s right straight down the pipe, and connect with the chin of RoboCop. I worry about the durability of Greg Rodriguez's chin because when you look at the resume, um, Rodriguez has struggled with the power of strikers. Jared Cannonier, I believe he lost to Bruno Ferreira, Jordan Williams. Like he has struggled with strikers and power. And when you see the wins, Jack Hermanson doesn't have a threat of or power in his hands. Christian Leroy Duncan is a very clean kickboxer. Gregory Rodriguez really worked the wrestling and the grappling on Leroy Duncan. Brad Tavares in 2024 is just a really washed up fighter, and the durability of his chin, as we saw his last fight, like I don't think he's there, man. And Dennis Tululian, like he's showing out against people that I think he's supposed to beat, and he has that edge on. I like the striking of Roman Kopylov in this fight, so I'm gonna take another shot here on the dog. I think Roman Kopylov again is really quick, and Roman Kopylov he can get out in front of the front. He can be a good front runner in this fight. And what I mean is like he can rack up strikes and rack up the numbers and the striking numbers quickly in this fight. I think RoboCop and Rodriguez, he does load up. I don't think he has much output. I think Roman Kopylov could work the kicks, mix up the kicks into working in that 1-2 straight down the line, and I think he can connect with Rodriguez early in this fight. It's just the durability and it's the lack of the head movement for me that I'm not picking Gregory Rodriguez here. I'm going to take a shot here on the dog. Give me Roman Kopylov to win by TKO. And the feature prelim for this fight, we have Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. I hate this fight. We got Bo Nickel talking his shit again. And I'm kind of over Bo Nickel, man. I'm really done. I'm out on this man. And yeah. I hope for a Bo Nickel loss, but I don't think it's gonna come this time. I think I don't know. If Herrera can defend these takedowns, because I think Bo Nickel is gonna go back to his wrestling here. Why not implement a game plan what got you to the dance? Like, why are you trying to strike? I know you're trying to show off what you've learned and what you've been training, but you still have to work in the wrestling. I hate that Bo Nickel is trying to strike and moving away from the wrestling. Do what got you to this point is your wrestling. So I just hate that he's not wrestling as much. I hopefully he goes back to the wrestling here. But even if he does go to the wrestling, Rodolfo Vieira is still a good grappler. So I don't know, man. Like Bonico would have to get this fight to the ground and hopefully end it with the ground and pound and be aggressive on top guard. But if he leaves an arm in there way too long, and um, he probably can get caught with how slick Ferreira is on the ground, man. I wouldn't be mad if anyone decided to fade Bo Nickel here. I might just do it for the hell of it. I don't know. Let me look. Let me look in this resume real quick. Nine submission wins. Christian Gore, he's losing to strikers. Rodolfo Vera is losing to strikers. It looks like Armin Petrosian, Chris Curtis, Anthony Hernandez, who is just fluffy as a different man right now. You know what? I may just for the hell of it, man. I I don't want to see Bo Nickel anymore. I just want Bo Nickel to leave the UFC. Give me Rodolfo Vera. F it. I'll go the underdog. Let's move into the pay-per-view card, man. Let's get this over with. Just right after this, I'm giving you my top 5 picks, my top 5 confident picks, and my favorite underdogs. To kick off the pay-per-view card for UFC 322, we got Bernil Dariush versus Benoit Saint Denis. Sorry. Um, Benoit Saint Denis has been using his wrestling a little bit more in his fights, or a lot more in his fights. I believe he's tired of being in these wars. Maybe he's just done getting his ass beat on the feet, and now he's using his grappling a little bit more, winning these fights by submission. But it was a really bad stylistic matchup against Rufy, and I was really high on Rufy in that fight. But seeing how it played out, that was the way to slow down a really great striker in Rufy. Was get the fight to the ground and suffocate Rufy with the grappling and the wrestling because he doesn't have that defense, and he also doesn't have that cardio um to last 15 minutes as well. So he really took advantage of the advantage of the strong wrestling side, and he made light work and got the grappling in and submitted Rufy. So, and then the Kyle Prepelic fight, Prepelic is a good striker as well, and he used his wrestling and got the submission win as well against Prepelic. So I don't know, man. Like me and Drew decided to go with Benil Dariush in his last fight against Moicano, and we made money by cashing out on Benil Dariush in his last fight. And I think if Benoit Saint Denis wants to go the grappling route, he's going to run into a big issue trying to do that with Benil Dariush. I think Benil Dariush is the better wrestler and the better grappler in this fight. So that would mean that Benoit Saint Denis really has to knock out and finish Benil Dariush. Now I get it. Benil Dariush, his chin is very suspect. He got knocked down in his last fight against Moicano, but he did pop right back up. He did scramble try to grab a leg and shoot for a takedown after getting knocked down. Um, and he got knocked out by Armin Sarukian, a really good, powerful striker. He got knocked out by Charles Oliveira, who is probably the most finish heavy fighter ever in the UFC. But I just go back to that Gamrot performance. I know that was 3 years ago, but the what Benil Dariush did to Gamrot, I just will never forget. He made Gamrot look silly at Gamrot's game. I would think that Benoit Saint Denis believes and he thinks and they've been training the striking in this fight. Because Benil Dariush, his striking is like he has he has some technique here, but it's not really, clean enough to, I think, be a technical counter striker against Benoit Saint Denis. He's going to find the overhand right and throw it, and if it lands, it lands. But Benoit Saint Denis is also not a technician on the feet as well. He really throws heavy. He really swings for the fences, and yeah, I lean Benil Dariush in this fight. I think Benoit Saint Denis, yeah, he has power, but it's really wild. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if Benil Dariush could see those coming and um, get out of the way and land a counter of his own. And if Benoit Saint Denis wants to wrestle and scramble, good luck, buddy. Give me the dog here. Give me Benil Dariush. I think he's gonna win by a finish. Next fight we have Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. I'm taking Prates. I see that money's coming in on Leon Edwards, and I get it. You know, Leon Edwards is finally getting a matchup versus a striker. He's been fighting a lot of wrestlers in these past like 5 fights or maybe a little bit longer. You know, really wrestling dominant fighters. So I bet Leon Edwards is really happy to finally fight a striker. But man, he has a tall task in front of him with Carlos Prates. Prates is nasty Muay Thai, really nasty knees up the middle. But this man's just vicious, and I know Prates. He has the durability. I think he just has the power to kind of put an end to Leon Edwards. Like I really do think Leon Edwards may go 9-9 in this fight. I lean the knockout prop from Carlos Prates, but I'm not too confident in it. I understand Carlos Prates by decision, but over 1.5 rounds is minus 150. Eh, I think it does go over 1.5 rounds. I really do. I think Leon Edwards could stick around a little bit longer than that, but Leon Edwards just hasn't shown much to me lately. On a losing streak, but it's taken a lot for Leon Edwards to kind of get going in these fights. You know, having to have this pep talk in between your rounds is not a good look. I know your coach is trying to do his thing, but or your father, but I don't like it that you have to be hyped up for these important fights in your career, and you're just mentally checked out, and it shows in your body language in these fights that you've lost. So Leon Edwards, you know, if you believe that he's going to start fast in this fight, go ahead, but I have to see it to believe it. So I'm taking Carlos Prates to win. No, I'll go Carlos Prates to win by decision. Next fight we have Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Drew is going Michael Morales in this fight. He's going the underdog. Drew is also going with Benil Dariush, and Drew is also taking Carlos Prates. But yeah, me and Drew kind of disagree on this fight. I'm going Sean Brady to win by decision here. I think the grappling. I think Sean Brady's going to be super strong here. I love the grappling. I love the wrestling from Sean Brady. I think Michael Morales is going to find out the difference in levels that Michael Morales has fought to what he hasn't fought yet, and I think he's going to find out. To go from Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns to a Sean Brady, I think it's going to be different. I think Michael Morales is going to find out. I hate that this fight is booked. Um, I, I'm a huge fan of Michael Morales. I posted him on my Instagram when it was just coming to the UFC of just how high I was on this prospect. But now he is here ranked and could soon find his way to fight for a belt soon. So I think there's good value here on the dog. I would, I wouldn't, I would love if you guys put money on Michael Morales just because of the value. Because if Sean Brady can't get these takedowns and the wrestling going, it's going to be a long night for Sean Brady. But I do think that the wrestling is going to work here, and I have Sean Brady to win by decision. And in the co-main, Drew is taking and new Whaley. And I am also going with Whaley in this fight. Now listen, Valentina Shevchenko is Probably number two greatest women fighters ever in the UFC. I've loved Valentina. She's great. But in these last fights, man, with the Manafort fight, the Grasso fight, the Talos Santos fight, I feel like Valentina has really became very, very reactive. She's really wanting to be a counter striker. I feel like she really wants to counter nowadays, which I don't like it. She seems like she's really just kind of being wise with her energy. I don't know, but she's just being a little bit methodical. I would say it's not bad, but it also doesn't. I hate it because who she's fighting in this fight. I feel like Manafort didn't really fight her fight, or she kind of got out of herself and didn't fight the way she usually does in that Valentina fight. Um, Valentina has been using the wrestling a lot more in these fights in the last five fights, but Valentina could outwork and be stronger than Whaley. I get it, but I think Whaley with the extra pounds on her body, I think she's gonna be strong. She's gonna be explosive. And I really do think that Wei Li is going to bring the fight out of Shevchenko here. Um, it could just be a thing where Valentina just kind of has been uninterested in her last couple fights, and but I think Valentina is going to be motivated here in this fight, fighting a Wei Li who is a big name and it really makes her resume look great for both fighters. Yes, but for Valentina, I feel like she hasn't been really enthused and into these last couple opponents that she's had. I don't know. It's the way I just feel. But man, Whaley is just a tank, and I would love to see the weigh-ins to see what these two look like. You know, what this look like on the scale, how Whaley looks. Um, 5'5" to 5'4", but Shevchenko's going to have that reach advantage. I just think there's value here on there's value here on the dog with Whaley, but I don't blame you for going to the and still Valentina side because I think there's great value there. So, but I'm gonna go with Wei Lee. I could switch this pick. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Wei Lee. Screw it. Next fight we have the main event. We have Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev. Um, I'm going with the champ. I'm going with Jack Della to keep that belt, and Drew is going with Islam Makhachev to take over the welterweight division. Man, Islam is moving up a weight class for his first fight at 170, and he looks great. He, yeah, he looks huge, man. He looks swole. That could be a good thing, or it can be a bad thing. Um, a lot of air has to go to those muscles. He didn't have that best. He didn't have that good of a cardio at 155, and I don't know if having the extra muscle mass is going to help with that, or he could just die out even faster. I don't know, carrying that much weight on his body. I don't know. He hasn't really taken that time yet to acclimate to his body like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jack, man. I just there's too many question marks with Islam. Yes, he is. I think the striking could look a little bit closer here. I do respect Islam in the striking, and yes, Islam is a crazy wrestler. You know where he's from. I get it, guys. And Jack Della has been taken down by lesser opponents. I get it. I think Jack Della is going about this the right way, bringing in Craig Jones and working with Volkanovski, picking the brains. I think Craig Jones is really showing him Jack Della a way to get back to the feet and defend these takedowns and trying to break the code of a Dagestan wrestler. You know what I'm saying? So I really like what Jack Dilla has been doing in camp. I think the boxing is always A1. I'm always been a fan of Jack Della, man. I saw it from his first or second fight in the UFC. I was like, this guy has it, and I think he keeps his belt, and I think he goes on a nice run as champion in the welterweight division. I see the threat here, man. I see it with the wrestling. I get it from Islam. I get it, guys. I get the love for Islam. I do. It's a little bit biased for me, and just to see a big plus sign by Jack Della's name, I got to take it. Man, there's too much value here. But we're gonna see what Islam can do at a new weight class with these bigger boys up there because Jack Della is a solid 170er as well. So we're gonna see. There's a lot of question marks. I'm not comfortable with yet. It may just I have to see it to believe it. So give me Jack Della to win by I'm gonna go TKO. We may see a fatigued Islam and he may just get knocked out. I don't know. But guys, for now, I'm going to give my top 5 confident picks for the UFC 322 card. My top 5 confident picks are Susakayev, Fatima Klein, Camilo, Aaron Blanchfield, and Carlos Prates. My favorite underdogs for this card. I have 6 dogs on this card. I'm gonna go with Chepe Mariscal as one of my favorite underdogs, and I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3 out of the 6 underdogs that I have. I'll go Chepe. I'll go Jack Della, and I'll go Benil Dariush as my 3 favorite underdogs for this card. Guys, that is the episode. I am sorry that this was it was a rough recording. I would say I miss my my other host with Drew. I feel like he balances me out really well with the banter that we have and just taking time off my time. He cuts my time in half with speaking, and I'm not used to speaking this much anymore. So it was a pretty rough recording tonight, but I made a mistake. We're not recording and make sure the mics are on, and I regret it. But me and Drew will be back next week to record UFC Qatar, and we'll get back to you guys, man. But those are my full card breakdown, top 5 confident picks, and my favorite underdogs for the card. Hopefully you guys win big, bet smart, and go look on your picks. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, my shit different. I stay glistening, they stay chasing me, I stay pivoting. I'm positioning all my dividends for my hitters. We break that down and redistribute it. Whole plot digging in, we no talk, we just 6 feet shit, social distancing. Bobby out here going crazy. Liquor drown me, I can make the